Dracula may have had the blood-sucking suave, and the Wolfman won't ever need to worry about male pattern baldness, but when it comes to classic movie monsters, only one shuffling star rules the video game roost: the humble and occasionally brain-nibbling zombie. There are a ton of worthwhile undead adventures on PC, and in this video, we pick out the very cream of this particular decomposing crop. So whether you fancy trouncing hordes of the living challenged with an electric guitar, want to hang out with an undead-offing Jeff Goldblum, or fancy dismembering intergalactic ghouls, these are the 10 best zombie games on PC. Digital zombie murder doesn't come any more joyously camp than Dead Rising. Capcom's time-conscious undead sandbox puts you in the role of Frank West, a goofy photojournalist who'd rather snap a page-one-worthy pic of Willamette's unfolding undead carnage than, actually try and intervene. Not that we hold anything against Frank. After all, his open-world zombie romp is so delightfully daft, you'd need a heart constructed of the world's surliest stone to resist his game's brand of suit-changing, toy lightsaber-brandishing, murderous mowing action. With an entire mall to explore, Dead Rising opens up avenues for constant undead annihilating improv. Pretend you're Babe Ruth as you bat away zombie craniums. Chop the undead in half with extra stabby garden shears. Make AV nerds everywhere cry as you crack a flat screen over some poor zombie's forehead. In Dead Rising, the opportunities for creative carnage are endless. Although, heed this warning: if Stephen King's Pennywise freaks you out, Frank's Zombie Basher probably isn't for you. Dying Light has to be the spryest zombie game ever made. It's also really ruddy good. Imagine Mirror's Edge got a ghoulish makeover, with Faith swapping all those free-running sci-fi shenanigans for brutal zombie beatdowns. And you've pretty much imagined Techland's fleet-footed survival horror sandbox. Dying Light provides players with one big parkour playground, then gleefully invites you to ruin Kyle Crane's shins and ankles leaping around Haran. Though the city is infested with pesky undead fiends, there's no denying it gives a seriously good virtual sunset. Not that there's much time for sightseeing. With fellow opportunistic survivors to fend off and truly horrifying nocturnal super zombies, Dying Light plays out as a constant tightrope walk between life and death. Literally. Want our advice for instant Dying Light success? Play through the entire game pretending the floor is undead lava, dish out as many zombie ass-kickings as possible, and remember to spray on some deep heat after all that free running. While the necromorphs couldn't exactly pass for background extras in Night of the Living Dead, there's no denying EA's space monstrosities are essentially intergalactic zombies. As such, Dead Space 2 should absolutely be considered one of the great zombie games on PC. This terrific, terrifying sequel ups the set-piece spectacle, with Isaac enduring grief-filled hallucinations, fending off groups of undead demon children, and suffering the worst train journey since Bruce Willis boarded that fateful choo-choo at the beginning of Unbreakable. When he's not watching a weirdly dead-on Wayne Rooney lookalike through video messages, Mr. Clark often spends his time on the Sprawl space station, cutting bits off beasties, enjoying homicidal elevator journeys, watching the horrifying necromorph gestation process, and admiring creepy mascots who are either holding a bar of chocolate or a stick of chorizo. Either way, Dead Space 2 is a brilliantly paced, gruesome and savagely scary treat. Just don't play it if you've got an upcoming visit to the opticians. Ay caramba! Though it's a little rough around the edges, Undead Lab's survival sim is a shuffling delight. State of Decay's real genius lies in its truly vulnerable characters. Like that goldfish you won back at the fun fair when you were 6, rest in peace Goldie, it's best not to get too attached to this survival sim's morbidly mortal cast. Death often comes in quick, ultra-unpleasant style in State of Decay, and when one of your survivors gets overwhelmed by the zombie hordes, the game swiftly shunts you into the loafers of a brand new zombie ass-kicker.
Welcome to our little home.
Of course, seeing as this is a game about going on daring supply runs and attracting the attention of flesh-feasting ghouls, said ass-kicker usually has the life expectancy of a blind lemming. If you can stay alive for more than 35 seconds at a time, wonderfully squishy headshots, tense resource management, and killer car combat await. Now, if you'll excuse us, we're just off to raid a pet shop. Sorry, Fido. The TV show may have transformed into a poorly paced shuffling shambles, but revisit Telltale's exquisite episodic series and you'll instantly remember how amazing The Walking Dead can be. In the undead universe Robert Kirkman created, the Z-word is an extra naughty expletive, but even though they go by a different name, the Walkers are classic zombies. While the virtual Walking Dead is full of the dim-witted head chewers, the real meat on this resurrected corpse's bones comes with the game's heart-wrenching decision system. With the world on the brink of collapse, the unlikely odd couple of Felon Lee and the orphan Clementine are forced to make all kinds of agonizing decisions during Telltale's first season, like a horrible life or death choice where we almost let this kid, who looks like Sid from Toy Story, bite the big one. Oops. God will remember that. Tense and heartfelt, you need to check out The Walking Dead's hard-hitting, brutally bickering action. Oh, and Glenn fans? Well, here's your boy before that very bad thing happened to him. Ooh, too soon? We know what you're thinking. Resident Evil 4's hordes of sociopathic Spaniards aren't really zombies. But A, they're still mindless ghouls, so give us a break, and B, there's no way we're leaving the best entry in the zombie series off a list of PC's best brain-biting games. Quiet, Resi 4, you're not helping our case here. Though the Ganados are technically parasite-infected drones and not garden-variety coffin dodgers, Resi 4 remains perhaps the finest zombie game ever made. Turning the tank controls and claustrophobic camera angles of the older titles on its undead head, this supreme sequel introduced an innovative over-the-shoulder camera, hordes of on-screen enemies, and a chainsaw wielder so sinister he makes Leatherface look like a slightly miffed Teletubby. Aside from pitting you against decomposing Europeans, Resi 4 also throws crazed cultists, a massive bloody troll, and the world's largest zombified salamander at Leon and his dreamy locks. Still, it's nothing the clearly WWE-obsessed agent and a few cheeky belly-to-belly suplexes can't overcome. Who said quality zombie flattening action had to be 3D? An affectionate, if festering, love letter to 80s platformers like Prince of Persia, Deadlight is an ace side-scrolling adventure that combines winning puzzles with athletic undead action. Provided you can avoid eviscerating yourself on fiendish spike traps every 17 seconds, the story of Randall Wayne and his journey through a zombie-strewn Seattle is a compelling one. With satisfyingly meaty combat, thoughtful conundrums, and appealing, stylish visuals, Deadlight is a bit like Limbo. Just swap out the silhouetted Sprog being chased by a massive spider for a dude axe-murdering zombies. If you don't mind dying over and over, your delicious brains will find nourishment in this monster-murdering indie. Merciless zombie butchering has rarely come less glamorous than DayZ. Dean Hall's hugely popular Arma 2 spin-off isn't just murderous, it's often downright mundane. In DayZ's case though, said mundanity isn't actually a bad thing. Whether you're reminiscing about adolescence in a long-abandoned school, or hanging out with a scarecrow because there aren't as many humans on the servers these days, the game's eerily silent world is weirdly soothing. Naturally, zombie-offing action does occur, and when it does, it's often charmingly slapstick. Because weapons are so scarce in DayZ, you often end up entering into minute-long first-person punch-ups with the game's undead. So when you finally get your hands on a machete, it's almost the equivalent of firing the BFG in Doom. Oh, and if you get really desperate, you can always try hiding behind a tyre. Do you think they see us? Valve may be the house that Gordon Freeman built, but there's no denying the studio behind Steam can also churn out rollicking zombie games. And in Left 4 Dead 2, it made a smash for the undead ages. Like the original, Valve's frantic zombie flaying fest focuses on tight co-op coordination, liberal axe sprees, and a killer Shaun of the Dead impression. Killer cricket escapades aside, Left 4 Dead 2 revels in glorious chaos. With dozens of on-screen zombies constantly bombarding the 4 survivors, this Deep South set shooter can easily overwhelm unless you work closely with other online players. Fail to band together and you'll soon be battered by a squat undead take on the Incredible Hulk, or dribbled on by Freddy Krueger's tongue-sized zombie cousin during history's most dangerous Coca-Cola fetch quest. Despite the ill-advised runs for caffeinated soft drinks, Left 4 Dead 2 is an online epic. Ever since 2008's World at War, Call of Duty has been obsessed with virtual brain-biters. Treyarch's shooter was the first entry to introduce a zombies mode, and ever since the famous FPS franchise has let us headshot countless undead. So why does Black Ops 3 serve up the best example of COD zombies? Well, 3 words: Jeff Ruddy Goldblum. The Jurassic Park actor plays dastardly magician Nero Blackstone, and he's ably assisted by a zombie-slaying ensemble that includes Heather Graham, Neil McDonough, and the ever-awesome Ron Perlman. Unlike earlier takes on COD Zombies, there's not a single undead Nazi officer to be seen. Instead, the shooter's Shadow of Evil mode takes place in the noir-style Morgue City, with each character seeking redemption as they off wave after wave of old-timey zombie civilians. As much as we love the original COD Zombies, Blops 3 and its gobblegum-scoffing, monster-mutating mayhem is tough to top. So there you are, 10 of the finest undead experiences PC gaming has to offer. Please like this video if any of your favourite games made the list, and let us know in the comments if